Hello everybody, my name is Nathan, and I am the man with the cartoon obsession. And I'm here with a more unscripted, off-the-cuff type of video. This is a topic that I've been thinking of for a little while, and I figured I would just put my thoughts out there in the form of a video, as I like to do on this channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the modern Digimon movies and my thoughts on them, as well as, I suppose, comparing my thoughts to what I've heard and seen other people say about them in recent years. When I say modern Digimon movies, I'm talking about the Digimon Adventure Tri movie series, Digimon Adventure Last Evolution Kizuna, and the most recent movie to come out as of recording, Digimon Adventure 02 The Beginning. Now these are all movies that revolve around the original Digidestined, except for 02, which revolves around the second group of Digidestined, but still, it's the more original cast. But, of course, these are more modernized movies. They take place in a more modern setting, and the cast is older than they were in the original series. All of this can lead to good potential ideas, and also some concern from fans, myself included to some extent. And I'll just go through my thoughts and opinions on why I think these movies work or don't work, and see if I can understand why other people don't think they do or do think they do. I suppose I'll start with the Digimon Adventure Tri movies, which I have seen mixed feelings on. I know that a lot of them aren't very well received, mainly because of things such as messy execution, plot holes, just a lot of things that don't make sense. I've seen that people don't like Meikumon because she's annoying and pointless, and I can understand those complaints. I will say that I did not hate Meikumon. Spoiler alert, but the villain arc that she had towards the end of that movie series was not my favorite, but I didn't hate it. Saying that a lot of things don't make sense in those movies, yeah, there were definitely some plot holes. There was definitely some logic to be lost. And the new character that they introduced, Miko, she was okay. She was okay. I don't hate her. She's the typical meek, shy girl. She's integral towards the plot of the movies, especially the last couple when the Meikumon villain arc really gets going. Do I think the movies would be different without her? Yes. Do I think they'd be different in a good way? I don't know. And I don't know because I like the Tri movies, with the second and third ones being the strongest in the series in my opinion. And the reason that I like the Tri movies, and honestly I can apply this to all of the movies I'm about to talk about, is because it feels like kind of the Digimon that I grew up with as a kid, but I am older now. And the cast of those movies is the cast from that show that I watched as a kid, but they're older too. In the Tri movies, I believe they're all high school students. And, you know, they act older, they look older. They're not exactly the same characters that they were in the show. Their personalities have changed, their behavior has changed, you know, that's what happens when you get older. And I can understand if some people want to see the Digimon of old, but I like the idea that the Digimon characters are growing up with the audience, that the Digimon franchise is growing up with the audience. And Digimon Adventure Tri was the first series of movies that really explored this idea. It also started to deal with darker and heavier subjects. For example, in one of the movies, the Digimon start to fade away, and the Digidestined fear that they're going to lose them forever, and that's one of the best movies in the series, if not the best. And then eventually, the Digimon, spoiler alert again, do forget that they even partnered with the Digidestined. They don't remember Tai, Matt, and the others. Which is sad, but of course, it all gets better. Even so, I like the fact that they dealt with those kinds of topics. Do the darker subjects always feel like they're delivered well? No, not necessarily. There is a scene in one of the Try movies that's weird. Dark Jedi captures Sora and licks her for some reason. That was very odd. It wasn't a make or break thing for me, it was just really weird. And there were a couple of instances where they said, I shouldn't say swear words because these are pretty light, but stuff like hell and I think damn was said once or twice. It was a little weird to hear it coming from Digimon characters, even though the voice actors weren't all the same from the original series. Some of them were, but not all of them. But even if all these ideas didn't necessarily work, I respect the fact that they at least tried them. Except the Dark Jedi thing, that just didn't need to happen. But other than that, I do respect the effort. And for me personally, I think it worked with the Digimon Adventure Try movies. And moving on to Digimon Adventure Last Evolution Kizuna, which serves as the, I suppose, sequel to those movies, but it's meant to serve as the finale for the original Digimon Adventure series overall. I think that is the strongest Digimon movie that has come out in recent years. The plot revolves mainly around Tai and Matt growing up, not sure of what their future is going to be like, and that affects their bonds with their respective Digimon. And the main villain of the movie, she wants to stop Digimon and their partners from parting, and in order to do that, she ends up knocking the Digidestined out and trapping them in a world where they're kids forever and they can always be with their Digimon partners, which is pretty messed up when you think about it. But again, this movie explores that idea that the Digimon franchise is growing up with its audience. And this movie showcases that the best given the plot. And I think the plot is well executed. I will say I wish that the rest of the Digidestined were seen a little more, but they're mostly unconscious for a good portion of the movie. And Sora does nothing in the movie. She's seen, but she's not a part of the fight at all, whatsoever, in fact. She's not even captured by the villain or knocked unconscious or whatever. She's there in a few scenes and she just says she's not going to fight, and she doesn't. And her and Biyomon just stay in a room and do nothing. And I didn't like that. I figured that she should be a part of it since she was a part of the original Digidestined, and she was the only one who wasn't there for the actual fight. It just doesn't make sense to me, but even so, it was nice to see the Digimon Adventure 02 cast in that movie as well. They were briefly, very briefly, mentioned and seen in one of the Try movies, or a couple of them rather, but they did nothing. They were barely even featured. So it was nice to see them in this movie. And they did quite a bit. More than Sora, that's for sure. But this was a cool movie to watch. It was very heartbreaking, especially at the end, because, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, and if I haven't made it clear already, there were going to be spoilers. I should have said that a lot earlier. At the end of the movie, Matt and Tai end up saying goodbye to Gabumon and Agumon respectively. Now they had one last hurrah, one last big fight, which was excellent by the way. And the last scene of the movie just shows Tai and Matt talking to Agumon and Gabumon respectively, and the Digimon ask their partners what are they going to do tomorrow, and that's that. They just vanish. And it's kind of a sad ending, honestly, because you spend so much time watching the Digimon and their partners be together, fight together, eat together, just be friends, and all of a sudden that's gone. But then again, that's just the reality of how life works, which is why I respect the Digimon movies for doing these kinds of deeper, heavier plots. It's not something that you would necessarily see in the original show. They did dabble with stuff like that on occasion, but not quite to this level. And then moving into Digimon Adventure 02 The Beginning, which is supposed to serve as the finale to the Digimon Adventure 02 series, well, this one is interesting because it doesn't really focus much on the Digimon Adventure 02 cast. They are there, they are a part of the movie, but it mostly focuses on Louie who is a new character that's introduced, and he is meant to be the original Digidestined. And I'll just say this right now, this movie has quite a few plot holes. Louis being the original Digidestined and still being around the same age as everyone else is a glaring one. And essentially his Digimon partner Ukomon is the one who created the Digidestined, I suppose. I don't know, it's weird and it breaks all logic. And again, spoiler, at the end of the movie, the D3s, the Digivices disappear, but the Digimon don't, and their bonds with the Digidestined don't fade like Matt's and Ty's did in the first movie. I don't know, there's a lot wrong with it from a logical standpoint. Did that affect my enjoyment of the movie? Not really. You would think it would, but I know what these movies are for. They are for fans of Digimon, and they are meant mostly for nostalgia, but I'll get into that later. Right now, I'm gonna continue talking about Digimon Adventure to the beginning, and say that it is probably the darkest Digimon movie, because we see Louis' backstory, and it is tough to watch, to be honest. He deals with so much abuse from his mother, and his father is in a coma or something, and then we see when he meets Ukomon, and Ukomon gives Louis what he wants, friends and happiness, but Ukomon makes his parents love him again as his father's out of a coma, but they're basically dead and just shells that Ukomon is controlling. And same with friends that he makes, and Ukomon apparently started the Digimon battles, and it's a lot. And there was a graphic scene or two, like where Louis takes the baseball bat, and it seemed like he was going to bludgeon Ukomon with it. That didn't happen. Instead, he had destroyed the Digivice, and he ended up catching himself in the eye, and Ukomon gives him its own eye, and at some point Ukomon just melts, and Louis' parents go back to being dead. And it was very dark. It was unexpectedly dark. In fact, when I saw the movie in theaters, there was a kid in there, and the kid got scared at that point and just started crying, and his dad had to take him out of the theater. I felt bad for the kid, honestly, but I wasn't expecting a Digimon movie to have such graphic scenes. But again, it's something that I respect, because again, and I'm going to keep harping on this point, the original fans of Digimon, who again, I believe is the target audience of these movies, are now adults. So it makes sense for the plots to be a little darker, or a little more serious, I suppose I should say. The action is not the main focus anymore. It's more so about the plot. It's more so about the story. And if you're just a casual Digimon fan, and this goes for all of these movies, not just this one in particular, but if you are a casual Digimon fan, I can completely understand if you don't like these movies because there isn't enough action, because the original Digidestined aren't featured as much, because the original Digimon aren't featured as much, because there aren't as many Digivolutions, because the battles may seem like they're not logical, because Ukomon's tentacles easily beat Sylphimon or Shakuamon or any of these other Digimon from years past. And from a logical standpoint, I completely understand. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And I am someone who does try to apply logic to stuff like this when I feel like it makes sense to do so. And here's why I don't usually do that for these Digimon movies. Because I know they're nostalgia bait. I know they're for the old school Digimon fans, the hardcore Digimon fans even, who are just absolutely in love with the franchise and will just eat up whatever they throw at them. And I'm kind of one of them. I'm part of the problem, I guess. But here's the thing with me, I don't necessarily mind Digimon getting more serious, a little darker, and more story-driven as opposed to action-driven. I watched a lot of Digimon growing up. I saw a lot of the Digimon fights, the giant monster battles or whatever. Not that I don't like them, but I do like the fact that since the series is older, since these characters are older, they are going towards a more, I guess you could say, mature-ish type of storytelling. They're dealing with subjects that they wouldn't really touch in the original show. and it is focused more on the story, more on the plot, kind of more on the characters than it is on just the action, and I like that. When you compare it to the original series, the logic might not always be there, and yes, that is a problem for some people, but for me, I don't know. It doesn't really bother me that much. At the end of the day, I don't know what's canon and what isn't, but Digimon isn't really a show that I care a whole lot about the canonization of. Because Digimon have had different incarnations, different Digidestined, different timelines. There was a series, Digimon Frontier, where the Digidestined, I suppose, actually turned into Digimon. So the logic, the continuity, it's not the most important thing to me. I do like the storytelling a lot in these movies. I can understand why people don't. I can understand if people think it's boring. I can understand if people think it misses the point of Digimon. I understand. But for me, I like the way that they handled these movies. I find them to be fascinating. I find them to kind of capture the essence of what Digimon was, but also reinvent it in a way and make it fit for a more mature audience that did grow up with Digimon, but is older now, possibly has different tastes, and wants something new from the franchise. And I think these movies offer that. I would also like to see more of them. I understand if the original Adventure and Adventure 2 series are done, but there's still the Tamers series and there's still the Frontier series. I didn't really dabble with Digimon too much after that, but I wouldn't mind seeing movies that show these series take a more mature approach. In fact, I welcome it. But what do you guys think of the modern Digimon movies? Do you like them? Do you hate them? And tell me why, regardless of what your answer is. I'm always open to discussing Digimon with my viewers. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you have any other cartoons, anime, or other animated works that you want me to talk about in the future, please let me know. After all, it's not my channel, it's our channel. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and feel free to check out my social media pages, audition for an outro, and join the official Cartoon Obsession Discord, the links for all of which are in the description below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.
Hi there! This is Digimon from Digimon Tamers, and this is Cartoon Obsession. Takano, I did it! Now can you give me some Digimon bread, please?